Most of what we do on a daily basis is automatic, like brushing our teeth. You don't even think about it. And most of the time, you don't even realize you're doing it. This is especially true with how you handle your money. In this video, I'm going to be talking about 7 money habits that keep you poor. Before I learned to recognize these bad habits, I was always in debt and I had trouble saving any money. But once I realized what I was doing, I started replacing bad habits with good habits. And that's when my financial life suddenly clicked and I was able to become debt-free and start my investing journey. Now, most people work really hard trying to get themselves out of debt, but it's not necessarily about how hard you work. What matters is that you work efficiently and eliminate these bad habits that are holding you down. So bad habit number 1 is going to be paying yourself last. And here's what I mean by that. Normally, as soon as your paycheck hits your bank account, you pay your rent, your phone bill, your gym membership. Maybe you go out to dinner and treat yourself to something nice. You start immediately spending money, and the plan is to save any money that you just happen to have left over at the end of the month. The problem, of course, is that there's never any money left to save. If that sounds familiar, you need to start doing the exact opposite, and you need to pay yourself first. As soon as you get paid, set aside a portion of those funds and immediately put those into savings. Maybe that's $100, $500, or $1,000 a month. Whatever you feel you can afford, set that money aside immediately. Only once that money is safely inside a savings account, pay off any monthly bills that you have, and then live on what's left after that. The Parkinson's law is the principle that demand will always expand to consume all available resources. That's why if your school or work assigns you a task and gives you a week to do it, it's probably going to take you a whole week to accomplish that task. However, if instead you are only given a day, you'd be super focused on that task and you'd be able to complete the same task in only a day. The same thing happens with our money. The more money we have, the more money we naturally tend to spend. This is something that's often referred to as lifestyle creep and helps to explain why there's never any money left in our bank accounts at the end of the month. So stop the madness by following tip number 1 and pay yourself first. Bad habit number 2, stop procrastinating on investing. Look, there's always going to be an excuse that keeps you from investing. Maybe you were waiting to invest until later in life when you make more money or when you have more investing knowledge. Stop making excuses and start investing. It's physically impossible to become wealthy simply by saving. You have to invest. For example, if you are somehow able to save $1,000 a month, which is significantly more than most people are capable of, but even with that high rate of savings, it would take you over 86 years to become a millionaire. But if you had started investing in the stock market at age 18, you would only have to contribute roughly $100 a month in order to retire a millionaire at age 65. Now, anyone can afford to save $100 a month with a little discipline and effort. And if a lack of financial knowledge is scaring you from investing, then get some knowledge. Most people work 40 hours a week or roughly 2,100 hours a year. And this translates into almost 100,000 hours working in your lifetime. Now, if you're willing to dedicate 100,000 hours to your job trying to earn some money, wouldn't it make sense to spend just a few hours learning about money itself and how to make more of it? I highly suggest you educate yourself financially, because while school may have taught you all about the Pythagorean theorem, it probably didn't teach you anything about personal finance. But even if you're too busy or too lazy to learn about finance, if you just download the Robinhood app due to its ease of use, links are going to be down below in the description. And if you just consistently pay yourself first by buying stock in the stock ticker VTI, then in the long run, you'll probably do just fine. By buying shares of VTI, you're actually buying small fractions of nearly 4,000 different companies. So there's no need to worry about picking the right winning stock. Instead, you can just average your returns by simply investing in an index fund like Vanguard's VTI and owning all of the bigger companies all at once. Tip number 3, use credit cards wisely. We all know that carrying a balance and paying high interest rates is bad, but most people still do it. Look, guys, if you invested $10,000 at 24.99% interest rate for 10 years, you would have an end balance of over $93,000. Now, imagine instead of investing and earning that interest, what if instead we were stuck paying that 24.99% interest and paying that $93,000 in interest? Now, maybe you see just how painful carrying a credit card balance can be, but because these monthly payments are relatively small, we don't see just how bad it hurts. It's like a death by 1,000 paper cuts. So whatever you do, start by paying down those credit card balances immediately. But also be wise about when you use your credit card for future purchases. Most people tend to buy more things that they don't really need when they are paying via credit, as opposed to simply paying cash. One study conducted by Dun and Bradstreet found that people spend anywhere between 12 to 18% more money when using their credit cards instead of paying cash. McDonald's has famously reported that its average ticket was $7 when people used credit cards versus only $4.50 when people pay in cash. This is because psychologically it's very easy to swipe our card, but it's much harder to see that cold hard cash leaving our wallets. Now, everyone loves credit card rewards and cash back, but I tend to recommend only purchasing items that are 100% essential on your card. Items like gas or utilities if your city allows it. Otherwise, items like groceries, pay cash. This way, you're much less likely to walk out of the grocery store with a bag of T-bones, and instead, maybe you just have some hamburger instead. Tip number 4, don't try to keep up with the Joneses. It can be difficult to save money when those around us seem to be spending theirs so freely. Maybe your neighbor just got a new car, and so you feel like maybe you should upgrade your ride as well. Or maybe your friends just went on vacation, and so suddenly you want a vacation as well. Now, there's nothing wrong with treating yourself, but resist the urge to treat yourself just because everyone around you appears to be treating themselves. Remember, the average American has over $90,000 in debt. So chances are that fancy vacations that your friends are taking, they were funded with their credit cards, and the interest charged will cost them a small fortune. This method applies to both big ticket items as well as smaller purchases. It can sometimes be difficult to resist spending money if you and your friends are going out to spend a night out on the town. This can often mean eating out, having a few expensive cocktails, and maybe catching a show. Before you know it, you've racked up an impressive nightly entertainment bill. And once again, there's nothing wrong with treating yourself and enjoying life. However, maybe at least on occasion you suggest that your group of friends an alternative entertainment plan that is less costly. Maybe instead of going out to watch the game with your friends and pay $6 for a beer, you simply invite everyone over to your house to watch the game and BYOB. If members of the group would still rather go out, just let them know that you're trying to achieve some financial goals and you would rather spend a little less money. And if they are genuinely your friends, they'll understand that your goals are important to you and be more willing to do activities that you suggest. And it may even cause them to reevaluate their own financial situation. Tip number 5, poor planning. I don't know how many times I've wasted my hard-earned money because I didn't have a proper plan in place in advance. Maybe that's the result of not having a spending budget in place and suddenly being overdrawn on my checking account and being hit with overdraft fees or late fees because I forgot to log in and pay a bill on time. Look, guys, we live in a digital world and there is no excuse to not pay your bills on time. All bills should be set up on autopay for at least the minimum statement balance, but preferably for the full amount if you can afford it. This way you never get hit with another late fee and your credit score will also start to go up over time. Proper planning also includes having a sufficient safety net and having a nest egg of easily accessible money in case of emergency. I highly recommend everyone have at least $1,000 sitting in their bank accounts at all times, and preferably closer to 3 months worth of expenses. Otherwise, what I see all too often is people don't have a nest egg, and so as soon as something out of the ordinary happens, maybe your car breaks down or you have an unexpected medical expense, you don't have a good way to pay for these bills. And so the default method seems to be either putting it on your credit card and paying obscene interest, or trying to get a payday loan or cash advance. By having a nest egg, not only will you be able to pay for many of these types of emergencies, but it will also relieve a lot of stress and give you the peace of mind knowing that you have a financial cushion. Tip number 6, having disorganized finances. Many people have their finances spread all over the place. Maybe a couple of different credit cards, student loans, a checking account, savings account, investment account, brokerage account, retirement account. All their money is just all over the place. And while there's nothing inherently wrong with this, it can be difficult to know what's going on with your finances when your money is spread out everywhere. To combat this, I highly recommend getting an app that links your various accounts and consolidates this information into one centralized location. Apps such as Mint or Personal Capital make tracking your various accounts a breeze. Or simply consolidate and move your accounts into one brokerage. That way you don't have to juggle dozens of different usernames and passwords. Places like Fidelity or SoFi have cash management accounts, brokerage accounts, retirement accounts, credit cards, all under one roof. Whatever option you choose, make sure you have a way to track your overall net worth, even if that means manually calculating it on a monthly or quarterly basis. The more different types of accounts you have, the harder it is to definitively see yourself making positive financial progress towards your goals. And being able to see your net worth grow over time gives you that positive reinforcement to let you know that all of the hard work and effort that you've been putting into your finances is actually paying off. And for some people, this can cause saving and investing to become fun for them. As they try to save even more this month than they did last month, it becomes a game of sorts. Tip number 7, paying too much in taxes. For most people, taxes is the single largest expense you will have in your entire lifetime. More expensive than groceries or rent, taxes eat away at a significant portion of our finances. One great way to have more money in your account is to simply give less of your hard-earned money to the government. While we typically think that only the rich can enjoy a bunch of tax loopholes, it is important to remember that the overwhelming majority of tax breaks are given to personal business owners. So bust out that entrepreneurial spirit and become a small business owner. Even if it's something as simple as driving part-time for Uber or starting your own YouTube channel, as soon as you do, you now qualify for many of the same tax breaks that the wealthy utilize because now you own your own business. Don't want to start your own business? Well, no problem. Simply put your money into a retirement account and let it grow tax-free. Typically, when you earn and invest money, it's taxed 3 separate times. Once when you earn it, a second time when you invest it and that investment begins to pay you regular interest or dividends, and finally a third time when you sell that investment if that investment went up in value as capital gains. Paying taxes 3 separate times sucks. But by simply investing inside a retirement account, either a Roth or a traditional retirement account, you only get taxed once. Eliminating the other 2 taxable events, this lets your money grow and compound much faster, leaving you with a respectable nest egg to live off of during retirement. If you can simply identify some of your bad financial habits and stick with these 7 tips that I've given you, then you should be well on your way towards financial freedom. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe, leave a comment down below. I love hearing from you guys. And as always, I'll see you all again next time. Thanks.